In this video, I will go over my KovaaK routine and the playlist I have created for improving my aim in Overwatch. This is not a complete KovaaK or aim training guide, a complete guide is still in the works, but rather a shorter video explaining my routine I developed for improving both my general aim and Overwatch specific aim, and especially for hitscan heroes like Ana, Widow and Soldier. Before we begin, there are aim trainers in the Overwatch workshop that work just fine, so you don't need to buy KovaaKs to start training and improving your aim. I use the workshop modes as a complement to KovaaK, but KovaaKs have a few quality of life features like leaderboards, progression tracking, and a ton of scenarios to choose from that makes it such a good tool and convenient to use. For those of you who don't know, KovaaK is an aim trainer you can buy on Steam for around $12. I will have a link in the video description below on where you can find it. This is a sort of workshop game designed to practice and improve your aim, where you can choose from different scenarios. Then you can create playlists of scenarios that you want to group together. You get a nice view of your progress in the stats section, and you can compare your results to others on the leaderboards. First off, before we get started, there are a few things in KovaaKs you need to configure. If you go into settings and under main settings, in the sensitivity scale, choose Overwatch. Then select your horizontal sensitivity and match that to what you have currently in-game in Overwatch. Click the vertical sensitivity lock to horizontal. Select Overwatch under FOV measurements. Set the FOV as same as you have in Overwatch and the max FPS to match what you have in Overwatch. Then click on the video tab and under the video mode select full screen. Under resolution, select the same resolution as you have in Overwatch, resolution scale 100, and the rest should once again match currently what you have in Overwatch. Now, if you set this up correctly, your crosshair will move in KovaaKs the same as it does in Overwatch in relation to distance traveled on your mousepad. The scenarios I run for my Overwatch aim training in KovaaKs are 5 sphere hipfire small, 1 wall 6 target small, ascent tracking V3, Rex strafes Kara invincible, bounce 180 tracking, Tal frenzy, 1 wall 5 targets Pesu, Reflex flick fair, patTargetSwitch. I have grouped these scenarios into a playlist, and I tried to keep my playlist around 30 minutes because that's how long I spend each day on aim training. As you can see, I don't run the same scenario twice in a row, even though I run each scenario at least 3 times. The reason for this is I want my training to be as dynamic as possible to replicate as far as possible the environment while you're in a competitive match. Sort of always keep my brain on its toes while practicing. When I begin to build out my playlist, I have about 22 minutes worth of scenarios, and whenever I feel frustrated or I'm really bad at a specific scenario, I add it one more time to the playlist in a random position. You should enhance what you're good at, but really focus on what you're bad at, is my philosophy when practicing. Even though your bad skills aren't what you mainly are using in-game, you should practice every aspect of aiming. Let's say you're a hitscan player with a flick playstyle. Practicing your tracking and thereby your overall mouse movement and aiming accuracy will have a spillover effect on your flicking. And aiming isn't black and white. Meaning, in-game, you don't only use one technique of aiming. You might have one main technique that you're trying to use or you prefer to use, but oftentimes you're forced into situations where you have to track or you have to flick if you're a tracker, and so on. Now, let's go over my scenarios in detail and why I've chosen them. I will post all the names of the scenarios and in which order I play them in the description field below. 5 sphere hipfire small and 1 wall 6 target small. These are 2 very similar scenarios. They are 1 minute long, and in 5 sphere hipfire small, we have 5 targets on a wall clustered close together that you click as fast as possible. And in one wall 6 targets small, we have 6 targets spaced much further apart, and targets are also smaller. These are 2 good basic exercises for general aiming, where we get to practice both small and large mouse adjustments. These 2 or similar variants of these are always included in all my iterations of aim training playlist, as I see them as the meat and potatoes of my routines. For tracking, I have Ascended Tracking version 3, Rec Strafes Kata Invincible, and Bounce 180 Tracking, with a bonus later on I don't really consider to be tracking. In Ascended Tracking version 3, the targets are spread out vertically and horizontally on the map, and targets are moving left to right in a relatively easy movement pattern. This is a good exercise for getting a feel for your mouse and how much movement is required for smaller adjustments. Getting consistent in making smaller tracking adjustments and not overshooting your target and then having to correct your crosshair position will increase your real-world tracking aim immensely for heroes like soldiers and Bastion and other tracking-based heroes. This exercise can be a game changer. This is a 90-second scenario, and new target spawns randomly after each kill. Rec Strafes Kata Invincible. Here we have one target moving mainly from left to right and have some vertical movement by moving up and down the staircase, but with focus on the horizontal movement. This scenario is trying to mimic human strafing patterns that you might see in game and tries to be unpredictable with small and long strafes in random sequences. It does a pretty good job of being unpredictable and mimicking human strafing in my opinion. The target never dies, and you must try to keep your crosshair on the target the whole time. This scenario is a bit frustrating since the target never dies and you get no positive feedback like when killing a target in the other scenario. But for me, it has really helped me to focus for longer stretches of time, since you seldom in-game have a full focus for 60 seconds on a single target. Bounce 180 Tracking. Here we have small balls bouncing up and down, left and right, and to kill them you need to shoot them for a few moments. This scenario mimics Baptiste's shooting pattern. Baptiste have a very different burst aim on the primary fire compared to other hit scan heroes in Overwatch. And this scenario is a good mix of tracking and burst shooting to really help out your Baptiste aim. I mostly play Ana and Bap and other hit scan heroes, so for me, these 3 tracking scenarios are enough. But if you mainly play tracking heroes, consider adding more tracking scenarios in your playlist. Tile Frenzy is a scenario for fast mouse movement with more focus on speed than accuracy, since the targets are pretty big. I only have this scenario twice, and as a palette cleanser, you know, a nice, fast, fire and forget scenario that gives you lots of positive feedback to your brain, since it looks and feels very rewarding when practicing it. One wall 5 targets Peisu. Like the Bounce 180 Tracking, this is a scenario with small balls bouncing up and down, left and right, but the difference is that one shot kills them. This is perfect for practicing drag shots, where you want to hit moving targets and need to compensate for the target's movement and predict the movement patterns, or you can place your crosshair preemptively where you think the target will move, and then you'll have your mouse still and do a reaction shot. When I play Widowmaker or Ana, I use both of these aiming techniques, and this scenario have made my accuracy on those types of shots way higher. Reflex Flick Fair. This is my white whale. Remember in the beginning when I mentioned not starting out with the full 30 minutes worth of scenarios or whatever your daily practicing time is. This scenario I have added and re-added to my playlist until I reach the full 30 minutes. Here, balls appear for a short time period in random places on the wall, and you need to flick or move really fast to the target and hit it. You only get one chance with no room for adjustment, so don't overshoot your targets. A tip is, after every target has disappeared or you missed a shot, recenter your cursor to the middle to get ready for the next target. In the beginning, I barely hit any shots, and I got anxiety every time this scenario came up in my playlist. Every time I felt like that, I added it again to my playlist. And slowly, my score here have increased, And nowadays I almost always have over 1,000 points, even on a bad day. This has helped my flick shots and Ana quickscopes a lot, and seeing the progression I have made from basically hitting nothing to getting a high score of 2,765 has really boosted my confidence. I know, this isn't high up on the leaderboards, but aim training is like weightlifting. You're only competing with yourself, and the goal is to get better over time. patTargetSwitch. This is a little bit of everything, lots of target, both horizontally and vertically. You have a limited ammo like a magazine, and every time you kill a target, get an instant reload. If you don't kill a target and the ammo runs out, there is a small downtime where the gun reloads. If you hit the hitboxes, the target dies faster. Here, my goal is to never have to reload the gun and have trigger control, meaning when a target dies, I don't shoot extra bullets while only hitting headshots. I have been running these scenarios for about 100 hours now, and my overall aim in Overwatch is a lot better now. It's not like I don't miss or can't take super crazy hard shots all the time, but my accuracy on easy shots, or let's call them non-hard shots, is up a lot. This gives me much higher overall output in game, whatever it be healing or damage. Higher output over time equals more wins and a higher rank. Aim training is all about the long game. I do this playlist for 30 minutes a day, and if we look at my progression in terms of score inside KovaaK, you see a clear positive trend, and this pretty much correlates to my rank increase in Overwatch. I will in the near future make a video about my new playlist I'm working on, which will have totally different scenarios, since I want to keep my training fresh, and I think variety is good for your development. The types of scenarios will be pretty much the same, a few tracking, a few basic, some flicking, and some just for fun. I will also do a video on the custom workshop maps available in Overwatch for aim training that I use in conjunction with KovaaK. Any aim training will improve your aim over time, so rather than finding the perfect one, start today instead of procrastinating. If you have any questions, please leave a comment below. I also stream every Tuesday night Central European time on Twitch, YouTube and Facebook. Links to that is also below, if you want to see my ever-improving mediocre aim in action. Hope you guys liked this video. If you did, consider leaving a thumbs up and subscribing. I have videos planned for everything related to improving your in-game performances, like gaming gear, PC hardware, settings both in-game and in Windows, practice routines, mindset, game awareness and strategies. I'm also seeing an Overwatch coach and have an ongoing series about that, and I also do VOD reviews on both myself and other players to improve my own performance. And hopefully I'll see you guys in the next one.